We're coming to you live from our Auckland Park studios. This is Prime News on SABC 3. Here are the stories making headlines.
How certain are you that the voice that you heard is the man in question?
That guy's face and voice is something that I'll never forget.
We start tonight with an exclusive report following the killing of one of the men who police believe was responsible for the murder of Johannesburg student Olorato Mongalia.
I want to confirm that the national officials have taken a decision which I fully accept as a disciplined member of Mckenzies.
The Mckenzies party is yet to announce who will take over the reins as the party's Secretary General after Floyd Shivambo's removal.
The extradition of Mr. Olorato from the United States of America to the Republic of South Africa is declared to have been done unlawfully.
The Free State High Court has ruled that Murwari Cholota's extradition from the US was unlawful. Good evening and a warm welcome to Prime News on 3. I am Paulette Nell. Thank you for joining us as we bring you the latest updates. But first, let's start with this. The Olorato Mongalia murder case has just taken a shocking turn after a recent SABC exclusive interview with the friend of the main suspect who died in a police shootout. Alleged victims have come forward. This after recognizing the suspect's friend's voice. They alleged that he too is a member of the syndicate. In an exclusive sit-down with SABC news reporter Jade Palser, they shared their harrowing stories of how they allegedly fell prey to his schemes. Let's have a listen.
I remember I saw the video, I put it on my status to say this is the exact same story that had happened to me. Most of my friends that also knew texted me to say, yo, when we saw the story, we actually thought of you. And that's when I said exactly the same thing that happened was me. Then, as days went by, I saw an interview, right, that was made and it was going around socials. And you know, when I heard this guy's voice that was being interviewed, I said there's noise. This voice, I've heard it. This voice is the voice that lives in my mind rent-free.
How certain are you that the voice that you heard is the man in question?
That guy's face and voice is something that I'll never forget. I remember I used to go to sleep when I close my eyes, all I see is this guy. Whenever I meet a guy that's light-skinned, I used to think of this guy.
Thank you for trusting us with your story. Can you detail the events of your kidnapping?
I met him around December because I remember we didn't talk for long. He made sure that within a week, we meet up and then he executes his plan.
Leading up to meeting him, how excited were you? What was the conversations like?
I was very excited because I remember he even said that he'll pick me up, and obviously, you know, when you hate driving, you become excited. Okay, at least I'll become a passenger princess, you know. Because first of all, this guy came with this lady, assuming that they were siblings. He said to me, I asked him, why are you coming with someone else? He said to me, I cannot come to an area that I do not know alone. So I'm coming with my little sister. So there was a lady there as well. And then she was the one driving and the guy was sitting on the passenger seat. He told me that this is the sister and we're gonna drop her off at her place, then we can go to our date. And I was like, okay. He took out a knife and those laser things that shock people. He took those two things out and he was like, I need you to keep quiet and don't scream. I screamed. I remember saying help because I could see people walking on the other side of the road, but because the windows were tinted, obviously you can't even see what's happening inside.
You mentioned there was a woman in the car when you were kidnapped. Did you speak to her at all during the ordeal?
You told the lady to put the volume up of the music, then she did that. And the lady kept on saying in Zulu that I better cooperate or else they'll shoot me.
Police investigations into the killing of Olorato Mongalia continue. In other news, the Umkhonto weSizwe party has yet to announce who will take over the reins as the party's Secretary General after Floyd Shivambo's removal. The party's National High Command announced this afternoon that Shivambo has been redeployed to the National Assembly. This follows his April visit to fugitive pastor Shepherd Bushiri in Malawi.
Speculation was ripe that the Mkhonto weSizwe party was going to make a major announcement regarding the future of Floyd Shivambo in the party. The now former Secretary General, who joined the MKP in November last year, had come under fire from within the party. Reports suggested that some people within the party were aggrieved with his leadership style. In April, Jacob Zuma's daughter, an MKP Member of Parliament, went on a social media rant attacking Shivambo. She was later forced to issue a public apology. The incident, though, sparked questions on the tensions within the party. An MKP councillor in the Northwest also took to social media attacking Shivambo. But it's its unsanctioned trip to fugitive pastor Shepherd Bushiri over the Easter weekend that's landed him in hot water.
It was confirmed that the trip was not officially sanctioned. It was not an officially sanctioned program of the organization or the president.
Party leader Jacob Zuma said they'd received numerous complaints. They, however, refused to be drawn to the reason Shivambo gave the leadership for his visit.
There were quite a number of the letters that came unhappy. They said a number of things.
In response, Shivambo expressed his gratitude to the party for giving him an opportunity to serve as Secretary General.
We've been redeployed to the National Assembly and will continue to play the role of advancing the agenda and program of Umkhonto weSizwe.
It remains to be seen who will take over the reins from Shivambo. Aindam Mhlongo, SABC News, Durban.
The Free State High Court in Bloemfontein has severely criticized the National Prosecuting Authority's handling of the extradition of Morwadi Cholota from the United States. The court has ruled that her extradition was unlawful, essentially rendering the former personal assistant to the ex-Free State Premier Isma Khashule a free woman.
Lobsha found that the state had failed to prove that it had followed procedure to extradite Cholota to stand trial in the 255 million rand asbestos roof removal case. In his damning judgment, he also found that the state did not present witnesses to address the process followed to bring Cholota back to the country. Lobsha says South African courts should be precluded from trying Cholota as the state provided false information to the U.S. authorities in her extradition matter. Cholota broke down in tears after the judgment.
Consequently, I have to find that the prosecution has not proven beyond reasonable doubt or at all that there was a valid and lawful request from the Republic of South Africa for the extradition of Ms. Cholota from the United States of America. It follows that if there was not a valid and lawful request for extradition, then the extradition itself was without any basis and therefore unlawful.
The NPA says it will study the judgment. The authority spokesperson was at pains to explain why it pursued the extradition instead of leaving it with the Justice Department. Advocate Mthunzi Mhaga also says they are appealing the SCA judgment that instructed that only the Minister of Justice had the powers to apply for an extradition order from another country.
At the moment, we'll have to regroup as a team and reflect on the judgment and see if we can identify grounds upon which the judgment could be appealed, given its impact.
The main trial of the asbestos roof removal case is expected to resume in the Free State High Court on Wednesday. The 17 accused include Makhashule, former Human Settlements MEC Olim Lamleli, and businessman Edwin Sodi. Kamogelo Siekwi, SABC News, Bloemfontein.
Friends and family of renowned South African actor Presley, affectionately known as Kobrizi or Mokwepa, have described him as a humble soul who united them. They gathered in Mahikeng in the Northwest Province to commemorate his life. Choniagai died a week ago at the age of 40.
Several organizations and people from all walks of life united in celebrating the life of a stage giant. Friends recalled the beginning of their artistic journey.
We brought the Oscar in the country. But Oscar doesn't make you a millionaire or a billionaire. Unfortunately, our country is not like America. So let's make the situation better.
We have lost the giant. Senatla, Tsimecha. We lost, man, somebody who could have contributed a lot to this industry.
His fans say he was the pride of his hometown and inspired many. A second memorial service for the late entertainment giant is expected to be held in Gauteng on Thursday, and he will be laid to rest in Pretoria on Saturday. Tabang Murutla, SABC News, Mahikeng.
Welcome back. Let's continue with news of some relief for motorists. A slight decrease in fuel prices will be implemented at the pumps as of midnight tonight. According to the Department of Mineral and Petroleum Resources, both grades of petrol 93 and 95 octane will decrease by 5 cents a litre. Diesel will decrease by 37 cents a litre, and the price of illuminating paraffin at the retail level will drop by 75 cents a litre. Meanwhile, the EFF's urgent application against the proposed fuel levy hike has been dismissed with costs in the Western Cape High Court. The party wanted an interim interdict against the implementation of the fuel levy hike, which comes into effect at midnight.
It is ordered, 1, the application is dismissed with costs. 2, the applicant is to pay the first respondent's costs, which costs will include the cost of 2 counsel where so employed on scale B. That is the order of the court.
With that ruling, the EFF failed to get over the first legal hurdle. Part A sought an interim interdict, while Part B is the main application, which will challenge the constitutionality of increasing the fuel levy.
And what will be argued in Part B is that any legislative provision that permits the minister to increase the fuel levy is unconstitutional.
The National Treasury argued that the finance minister has the power to increase the fuel levy.
In order to get that interdict, assuming they're in the territory of a constitutional challenge, because we still haven't worked out what their Part B is. Because remember, their Part B relief, as it's currently pleaded, just says reviewing the minister's decision. It says not one word about a constitutional challenge.
The EFF also argued that Parliament should not be bypassed in approving the fuel levy. It says any tax proposal must be done through a money bill and not a regulation as done by the minister.
On the 23rd of May, already the EFF made it clear that we rejected the fuel levy, followed by, of course, the letter that came in on the 26th of May, which asked Minister the question, where did you rely on? What did you rely on? Which powers do you have?
Ulelani Philip, SABC News, at the Western Cape High Court.
The South African economy registered positive growth in the first quarter of the year, albeit very weak. Stats SA data shows that gross domestic product increased by 0.1% in the first 3 months of the year. This follows a downwardly revised growth of 0.4% in the fourth quarter of 2024. The agriculture industry was the largest positive contributor to the latest GDP data after increasing by 15.8%.
Meaningful growth remains elusive for the local economy. Only 4 industries recorded positive growth in the first 3 months of the year. While some parts of the local economy showed positive signs, like farming, Others, such as manufacturing and mining, faced challenges leading to a very small overall increase in growth. Stats SA says 7 of the 10 manufacturing divisions reported negative growth rates, with the largest negative contributors being petroleum, chemical products, food and beverages, as well as motor vehicles, parts and accessories.
Our economy is not growing sufficiently enough. So it is easy for it to slide to the negative at any given point. And I think that's what the commentators that I spoke about were talking about from yesterday all the way to this morning, while they awaited the release of this number.
Say with the unfavorable trade environment globally as a result of the trade wars, growth will likely remain subdued.
It is particularly concerning that fixed investment declined in the first quarter of this year, and private sector fixed investment was the weakest since the end of 2021. This is a real concern when we think about creating more capacity in the economy to support stronger, longer-term trend growth.
The star performer of the first quarter, the agriculture sector, faces risks of foot and mouth disease in the livestock industry.
But when you look at how much the farmers have planted in a number of important subsectors, in the field crops, for example, particularly grains and the oilseeds, we see production up 18% on a year-on-year basis, sugarcane production up 7%, wine production up 11%. I can go on the fruits and the livestock. That's the only one that is facing challenges.
Gloria Sefakomosi, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Day of the Kurdock 4 inquest has wrapped up with the inquest legal team concluding inspections of several key sites linked to the incident in Kurdock in the Eastern Cape. The inquest, which is sitting in the Gqeberha High Court, is probing the deaths of anti-apartheid activist Matthew Goniwe, Fort Chalada, Spero Mkhonto and Sicelo Mhlauli, believed to have been killed by the apartheid security branch. The sites visited by the legal team on the second day of the proceedings include the local police station, the Goniwe family home and the Olifantscope Pass, where the 4 anti-apartheid activists were abducted in 1985. The day concluded at Olifantscope Pass, just outside Gqeberha, where the anti-apartheid activists were reportedly stopped by apartheid police during a roadblock and abducted. The National Prosecuting Authority confirmed the location using photographic evidence submitted during the Truth and Reconciliation Commission amnesty request in 1999. Thank you for staying with us. Let's now continue with this. Gauteng police say more arrests are imminent in connection with an alleged extortion syndicate involving officials from the Provincial Traffic Department and the Department of Home Affairs. 2 suspects were arrested today following the February kidnapping of a woman believed to be an undocumented foreign national. It is alleged that the syndicate, which may include 8 or more officials, specifically targets foreign nationals, extorting money by threatening them with deportation.
The victim was at home and she was approached by 6 males and 1 female. She was taken to the police station in Ruchara West. She was there for a few hours being questioned that she is not supposed to be in the country. She does not have papers to be in the country. She was later detained by those 7 females, so the 7 males and 1 female. When they arrived to the house, they introduced themselves as SAPS police officials. So she was detained for being undocumented, and the investigation was taken over by the Provincial Organized Crime under Brigadier Kopane, standing next to me. And then the following day, the victim was taken to the airport and she was asked to go back to her country.
The chairperson of the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Sports, Arts and Culture, Joseph Mckenzies, has lambasted Minister Mckenzies' tendency not to attend its meetings. Magula raised his concern before the South African Football Association's briefing to the committee on issues relating to the association's finance and the implementation of the Video Assistance Referee or VAR, amongst others.
According to the committee, Minister Mckenzies has deliberately missed several meetings after being summoned to appear before it since being appointed by President Ramaphosa in July 2024. Mckenzies has, for instance, boldly spoken about the implementation of the video assistant referee technology in South African football in recent months. And this was the opportunity to ask questions, hear answers, and provide guidance.
We are wasting our time with the sound absenteeism of the ministry. I'm going to tell you why, honorable members. There's a tendency by the minister not to attend our meetings. We discuss, we debate, we interrogate in the absence of the minister, and the next best thing that we read in the news that the minister has acted against this entity.
The Department of Sport was also questioned about progress being made on the implementation of VAR.
There is an amount after reprioritization which is set aside for this, and the Chief Director was explaining to a question from another member here that initially it was 80 million and it was a projection.
SAFA has been experiencing cash flow problems in recent years. The financial crisis has led to staff not being paid on time in March and national players not receiving their match bonuses late last year.
And the reason why we reported a loss for 2024 is firstly, we don't have funding for junior national teams.
SAFA will hold its next elective congress in 2026, but this will be preceded by an ordinary SAFA congress to be held on the 26th of this month. Sfiso Ramara, SABC News.
Now time to check out the latest weather forecast. Do stay tuned.
And it's a good evening to you. Let's take a look at all your weather details. We've got scattered rainfall behind a cold front for the Western Cape this evening. Partly cloudy skies expected through the Eastern Cape, as well as for the city of Kurdock, with wind speeds up to about 50 kilometers an hour. Otherwise clear and cold through the Free State this evening. In towards the northeastern parts of South Africa, expect some cloudy conditions that stretch eastwards down the escarpment towards the east coast of the country and head towards tomorrow. Expect nice sunny conditions for the northwest province and northern parts of South Africa. Some isolated showers along the eastern escarpment in towards northern KwaZulu-Natal. Otherwise nice and sunny through the Free State and the Northern Cape, with the coastal provinces expecting some cloudy conditions behind that cold front and some isolated showers for the southern coast of South Africa. Southeasters in Cape Town up to 30 kilometers an hour. Please be on the lookout for the potential of damaging waves along the Eastern Cape coastline this evening, and ahead towards tomorrow we've got again a warning in place for the potential of damaging waves through the Eastern Cape coastline, now stretching northwards in towards KwaZulu-Natal, whilst damaging winds are possible along that east coast of South Africa. Ahead towards the drop to overnight temperatures, we've got Graafrenet dipping down to 2 degrees this evening, Sutherland at -2, Cape Town dropping to 11, East London 13, Richards Bay 12, Johannesburg a cold night in store at 3 degrees, Bloemfontein and Bethlehem both colder at 1 degree, Polokwane 1 overnight, warming up tomorrow to a maximum of 22. Joburg going to be about 21 on Wednesday afternoon. That's under sunny skies. Kimberley the same, whilst Sutherland warms up to a cold 14 degrees. The same in Beaufort West and Graafrenet. Colder in Komani at 13 degrees through the interior of the Eastern Cape. Gqeberha up to 16 degrees, George up to 15 tomorrow, and Cape Town up to 18. Partly cloudy conditions expected through the central interior on Thursday, along with very cold temperatures through the southern parts of the Northern Cape and Free State. That's it from me. Have a great evening ahead.
That concludes our time together this evening. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, it's good night and God bless.